If this is the first time you've seen this clip, what genre would you say this is? Look at the way it's shot, the creaking door, the fluent and graceful tracking shot, the ominous production design, and of course the renowned jump scare. This is a clip from Park Chan-wook's The Handmaiden, an erotic psychological thriller. A film about a woman hired as a handmaiden to secretly defraud a Japanese heiress. It's a lot more than just a thriller, it's a love story, but it's shot like a horror film. The storytelling in The Handmaiden is so fluent it can seamlessly blend into elements of mystery, romance, and suspense with effortless direction. The Handmaiden is just one of many prime examples that signify the storytelling prowess that has emerged from South Korea in the last 20 years. It is a country that has released a diverse catalogue of films ranging from action to romance, a testament to its versatile filmmakers who can shift from one genre to the next in seamless fashion. We are currently living in the renaissance of South Korean cinema, following the government's control of censorship on Korean films in the 1970s, a period that prevented artists from expressing themselves, to a slow recovery in the 1980s. It wasn't until the late 90s that South Korean cinema was able to match heights of its golden age in the 1960s. This new Korean cinema paved the way for young directors to experiment in ways that challenged the audience to the limit, blending and twisting genres that were considered radical. Since the start of their renaissance, South Korea have had a massive impact in the realm of cinema. Their progressive and uncensored storytelling attracted audiences worldwide. From the graphically disturbing Oldboy, an action thriller which alerted the world that Korean cinema is here to stay and not going anywhere anytime soon, and then journeying back to a landmark achievement for not just Asian cinema, but non-English language films. In 2019, the black comedy thriller Parasite became the first foreign film to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So why do these movies have such an impact on audiences? What is it about them that draws people to the characters, the story, the filmmaking? It's unique, it's incomparable. There are a lot of elements that can provide some context to the craft of Korean filmmaking. South Korean films have really felt the impact of events like Korea's time under Japanese rule, the Korean War, government censorship, the influence of globalization and development of democratization in South Korea. Effectively, these events have become the inspiration behind many of the movies we see from South Korea. For instance, Shiri addresses the tension and potential reunification of Korea. In the 2001 film Friend, the story is set against the backdrop of South Korea's turbulent political landscape during the 1970s and 80s. It depicts the changes and challenges faced by Korean society during this period, including the rise of authoritarian rule and the struggle for democracy. It also explores the shift in culture, the social hierarchy and gang culture. All of these topics provide an honest and brutal depiction of the ever-changing culture in South Korea. These historical events are also portrayed in a remake of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly called The Good, the Bad, the Weird, an exciting and underrated adaptation of the Western classic that is set in Japanese-occupied Manchuria. Two filmmakers that have shared mainstream success in the West are Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho. Park being the director of Oldboy and The Handmaiden, while Bong is of course renowned for his work on Snowpiercer and Parasite. Oldboy won the Grand Prix at the Cannes Festival in 2004. It was the first film from the new age of Korean cinema that turned people's heads in the West. This is a film that is steeped in unfiltered violence, disturbing themes and highly transgressive sequences. It's honestly difficult to recommend to people because of how unpleasant the imagery is. But there's something that counters the violence and grievances. An artistic merit in Park's direction and the orchestral musical score offers a perspective that's quite profound. You realise this is not a movie that's solely being made to show off its violence. They utilize this as a storytelling tool to reflect the tragic circumstances of the protagonist, to invite you into the insane mind of Oh Dae-soo. The visual imagery is key in Oldboy. It ebbs and flows unconstrained with exceptional tracking shots and fluid editing that echoes the orchestral score. The scenes we witness are grossly undignified. Yet amidst the horror of this tragic thriller, the experience of this film can only be described as poetic beauty. Amidst the brutality of Oldboy, there is artistic beauty in the storytelling. Not many films of this genre have impacted the landscape of cinema in the way that Oldboy has. This is a film that encompasses all emotions to the maximum. It does not hold back. The impact is not just soul-destroying for the protagonist, but for the audience. For a director to translate the emotional rollercoaster that a fictional character experiences to an audience member is a rare gift. The movie borders on extreme cinema, a genre made for a very niche audience and has managed to expose itself to an international audience with universal acclaim. Oldboy is a sick revenge thriller, disguised as an action film, Bong Joon-ho's The Host is a hostage thriller disguised as a monster film. It's a high-octane ride of emotions, blending genres of science fiction, satire, and black comedy. Bong Joon-ho is known for his seamless transition from one genre to the next. The tempo of his stories move at a concise pace, changing drastically in tone from comical to dramatic. The Host is perhaps considered Bong's first film that showcased his renowned suspenseful heart-stopping moments. Look at this scene during the inciting incident of The Host. The tone is calm, relaxed, almost comical, like the beginning of a magical fairy tale. All of a sudden the tone shifts through the lens of the protagonist. Curiosity and wonder is instantly exchanged for threat and danger. The long single shot sequence invites you into the tension and realism of the scene, further emphasizing the threat of ominous horror that this story has so smoothly transitioned to. Parasite is another of Bong Joon-ho's work that constantly shifts tone from comedy to thriller. The first act starts out as a devious satire of the social hierarchy in South Korea, but the cinematography forebodes a different prospect. It's virtually presented in the form of a horror film, and essentially transforms into a horror thriller at the height of the second act. Pulsating and masterfully shot, each scene growing more intense and frightening than the last while still containing a twisted sense of humor. The balance of genre highlights Bong's ability to maintain consistency in his storytelling prowess and direction. Korean cinema not only thrives on visual imagery and genre shifts, but it also conveys a significant sympathy for extremely flawed characters. The whole family in Parasite are not virtuous people, but they're not terrible people either. It explores them with earnest depiction. What they're doing is wrong, but you can understand and sympathize for their cause. There is a blurred line between good and bad. They're simply portrayed as human, which is the most relatable of themes. Films from Lee Chang-dong's catalogue provide complex and nuanced characters that challenge the audience's perception of the main character. Lee's films cover themes of tragedy, mental health, trauma, depression, all encompassed in a tightly woven naturalistic style, further demonstrating the depth that Lee is willing to go to create such psychologically tormented characters. Lee is best known for his 2018 film Burning, a noir-inspired thriller that challenges the character and audience's memory on a surreal journey. But I want to take you back to his second film in 1999 called Peppermint Candy, a story told in reverse chronological order, from the moment he commits suicide to his aspirations of being a photographer in the last scene. In each sequence we witness the protagonist, Kim Young-ho, suffer tribulations through the military, the police and his marriage. We see a different side to him in every act. At times he is incredibly selfish, unlikable, and downright appalling. Other times you sympathize with him deeply, understanding that this is a man who has been through hell and lived to tell the tale. And the worst part of it is that no one else knows what he has endured. In this clip, Young-ho, a rookie detective, is cycling in the cold away from the other detectives who are enjoying a night out at a restaurant. As you see the detectives drinking and singing, the juxtaposition of Young-ho cycling in the background like the shark from Jaws is eerie to watch. The way Lee Chang-dong uses tension in such awkward circumstances, it's almost too personal at times. The feelings of alienation and depression that Young-ho feels throughout Peppermint Candy must be something that Lee has experienced on a personal level. We see the frustration brewing in Young-ho's mind, the trauma from his military years coming full circle. The shift from joyous detectives breaking into an aggressive climax is harrowing and distressing. When we look at this from afar, how do we perceive Young-ho as a human being in this scene? Is he bad news, someone you label as a psycho? Or is he deeply troubled and desperately needs a friend to connect with him? There are so many scenes in Peppermint Candy where you find yourself on Young-ho's side and other times you don't. It's a deeply realistic portrayal of a tortured man. He is far from perfect, which is what makes him such an intriguing and pitiful character. The portrayal of deeply flawed protagonists appear in the highly successful zombie action film Train to Busan. The main character, Seok-woo, is a cynical and selfish father who only thinks about himself even in a time of peril and danger. He is put to the test by Yoon Sung-hwa, a soon-to-be father who already carries the traits of being a righteous and selfless father, shedding an embarrassing light that further displays Seok-woo's cowardly behavior. But as the movie progresses, we begin to sympathize for him. He grows as a father and as a man of selflessness, culminating in a tragic and heartbreaking conclusion. South Korean cinema has experienced a remarkable renaissance over the past few decades, marked by its bold storytelling, genre-bending narratives, and deeply flawed yet relatable characters. Films like The Handmaiden, Oldboy, Parasite, and Train to Busan exemplify the diversity and innovation within Korean cinema, captivating audiences around the globe with their unique blend of genres and themes. The success of South Korean cinema can be attributed to various factors, including the historical and cultural context from which these films emerge. As a result, Korean cinema often delves into themes of social and political upheaval, personal struggle, and the blurred lines between good and evil. Directors like Park Chan-wook, Bong Joon-ho, and Lee Chang-dong have played pivotal roles in shaping the landscape of Korean cinema, pushing boundaries and challenging conventions with their innovative storytelling techniques. Their ability to seamlessly blend different genres, shift tones, and create complex, nuanced characters have earned them international acclaim and recognition. Korean cinema's willingness to confront difficult subject matter and explore the depths of human experience has resonated deeply with audiences worldwide. Whether it's the visceral intensity of Oldboy, the biting social commentary of Parasite, or the emotional rollercoaster of Train to Busan, Korean films have a unique ability to provoke thought, evoke emotion, and leave a lasting impact on viewers. In essence, South Korean cinema represents a convergence of artistic vision, cultural expression, and societal commentary. Its resurgence in recent years has not only elevated Korean filmmakers to global prominence, but has also enriched the cinematic landscape with its boldness, originality, and depth. As audiences continue to embrace the diverse and compelling stories coming out of South Korea, the legacy of Korean cinema is sure to endure for years to come.